Hello, this is Tregantle Beach amongst Whitsand Bay on the south coast of the UK. There's a little village of Port Wrinkle just here, and then the seaside town of Looe there. As we come round here, that is Rame Head just up there, and round the corner are the lovely seaside town villages of Corsand and Kingsand, and then round the corner from there is Plymouth Hoe. And up here somewhere is Tregantle Cliff, where the gentleman was found in 1982. They were unable to identify who he was, and they buried him in Horson Cemetery just outside of Tor Point, which is just west of Plymouth in Cornwall, in 1983. To date, he still seemingly is unidentified. He could have gone missing in the late 1970s, early 1980s. He was supposed to have been between 25 and 30 years old when he died. And yeah, I'm making it my quest at the moment to see if I can help identify him. I'm taking it very gently. I'm not getting obsessed. I'm not going to waste huge amounts of time, resources, energy, because I think if the gentleman wants to be identified after all this time, then I'm not saying it's easy, but it ought not to involve huge amounts of effort. Because if it does, to me, that means that he as a soul, as a spirit, or as his life path is not ready to be identified, or does not want to be identified. I feel if he is ready and wants to be and wants our help, then if we listen carefully to our intuition and make tracks forward gently, then we ought to be guided or helped into finding out who he was. Not sure how, but I think the answers are definitely there, as are all answers in the world. But it's how one accesses them, and whether one, I'm going to say is allowed, not is allowed, but has the permission from the guy to do so. There may well be relatives and friends out there who've been looking and waiting to hear what happened to this gentleman 40 years ago, over 40 years ago. And I assume it would be good, although we don't know the story, that if we can find his identity, then a story can be closed and start to be understood, and potentially a name can go on that grave and people can come and mourn and be a little bit more at peace with what may have happened back in 1982 or before. As they say in the coroner's report, it could have been 4 years before that he may have died before he was found. And in Cornwall, looking on the UK Missing Persons Police website, you'll see that there's at least 7 or 8 other unidentified bodies, and if you widen the search to Devon and Cornwall, I think the number goes up to nearly 20 or into the 20s. And if one goes wider than that, looking on the site, you'll see that there's at least 545, I think it is, unidentified bodies listed on the site from around the UK, and there are more that aren't listed, which are more sensitive cases that the unit doesn't believe are necessary to share with the public at this time. I do firmly believe that it's a question of right timing and right circumstances in potentially all unidentified bodies and all missing person cases. When people do get found, you find that although it's a hugely traumatic event, circumstances seem to be right, and often people are found not through exhaustive searches, but through little minor miracles. People walking out and about find people sometimes who have been missing for decades. So although obviously one wants to cover all angles when people go missing, and with the unidentified body scenarios, I don't believe it's always necessary for exhaustive efforts. I think if one can slow down, literally talk with the spirits of those who've departed and those who are still missing, sort of ask their permission, ask questions to them like, do you want to be found? Can I help you? Can we help you? What can we do? Where can we go? Where shall we research? What questions do we ask and who do we ask them to? Then one sort of almost comes as an equal to them. One comes down to their level of existence, let's say, and we try and meet their energy. So going on from that, this was a little bit of an introduction to my Buy Me a Coffee site, which there's about 1 million creators on there who share their passions with the world and hope in many cases to receive some sort of funding so that they can carry on with those passions. And for me it's a sort of stepping stone. I'm not trying to make millions, I'm just trying to see if there's an audience, and if that audience somehow, somewhere is willing to support what I do, not only financially but even in the comments section. It's great to hear feedback from people who perhaps enjoy what you're writing, or are interested in what you're writing, or believe in what you're writing. Yeah, I think I'll get this video out there. It's an introduction to my Buy Me a Coffee site, which you can find in the little section below, on the About section of the video. And it's to try and put myself in a position between the unidentified, between the missing, between those looking for both the unidentified and the missing, and allow answers to come to me. That's where I'm at. That's what I believe in, and I shall continue with my quest until it seems like it's something I shouldn't do. But for the time being, and for many, many years before, it does seem like a very good thing for me to do. But I need to relax, trust, inquire, and sit still almost. And then answers quite often do come. Thank you very much.